Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let's get right to this. Go to the small screen and bring up the YouTube link. If you subscribe to that link, you will get a notification, much like I haven't seen yet, but it'll show up in a second on YouTube, letting you know that the live stream is live. And if you like something, go ahead and click that like button. You learn something, you find something helpful, give me a shout out in the chat room. Love to hear where you're from. Like Carolyn has just done. Good morning, Carolyn. Good to see you again today. And we also do this on Twitch, so if you are over there, Sneehall, good day to you too. Good to see you there. Go over to Twitch. We also broadcast there. Some days Twitch stream is working better than others. Yesterday was a bit of a technical mess up, and we just don't know what's going on there. I need to make a backup of that. So just in case the recording doesn't, just in case the live stream doesn't work like it kind of did yesterday, it would have been nice to have a recording. So I configured the streaming software to record a local copy as well. So we've got that. Always have backups. There are two types of people in the world. Those who have made backups, or those who have lost data, and those who will. So we didn't lose data, but it was a wake-up call. I have had a point or two in my career where backups weren't as they should be, let's say. Good morning, M. Will. Sneehall says, I always learn from your video and also like all I watch. Well, good. I've got something a little different today. Hope you enjoy it. It is going to be partly community-based, but almost a crossover to Live Coding Happy Hour if you watch that series over on the ServiceNow Developer Program on YouTube. I can get you an information on that. Well, let's continue with the intro. If you do have more than just a quick comment or shout out or let me know where you're from, please post that on the community, and we will get that posted to the community. Lots of people, subject matter experts over there that can take a look at that. More eyeballs. If you post it in the chat, I'm probably not going to answer it because it's going to be very limited in scope, limited in audience, and nobody will be able to search for it later. And that's part of the value of the community, is that you can search for your answer because that's what you want to do. I have my a cup of tea at the ready. You know what? Twitch likes to stick up an ad, although I never really do see too many people chatting on Twitch. I still like to have that chat available. So let's get that out of the way. A little housekeeping on my end. Done and done. If you are new to the community, and this is your first time watching, you can take a look at these rules real quick. Things like post one question per post. If you put 10 of them in there, it makes it very difficult for you to actually mark when it's done. One of those threads that never ever dies because you never got the final answer to the final question. Therefore, nobody's really going to find what they're looking for in that way. The answers will be all jumbled in the thread. So one per question, put it in the right forum. Mark it correct when done so that others can find it. Those actually do percolate to the top. The correct answers come up first. So if you do get something answered, mark it correct so that others behind you that are looking for a similar answer or have a similar question or problem can find it easily. And it gives a little kickback in points to the person who has answered that question. Nice little reward system there. If you are experienced, you've done this before, you've answered a few questions, consider turning some of that learning into blog posts and help others. They'll find that useful. I know I've done this a number of times. I still have responses to articles I've written 7 years ago. It's crazy, but it's fun. It's still valid information, so you never know when that will come into play. If there is something that you need to defer and say, I don't know the answer, look it up, come back later, or maybe this is a actual factual bug that we need to steer towards ServiceNow. Nothing wrong with telling what do you call them on the community? The requester, the asker. We'll take the requester fulfiller model. If you're the fulfiller and the requester has something and you need to defer that to professional services. It could be, I've seen this before. People have asked questions that are very long and involved and in-depth and would take 40 hours or more to answer. That might be a better engagement. I mean, I'm not here to give away free professional services hours. I'm here to give you hints and tips and suggestions and skills to help you be a better developer through these questions. So Snehal asks, can we see the event notification name in the email log list view? Is it possible? Let me know. Good question, and I will get to that in just a second. Don't let me forget that. Don't let me forget that. Let me finish just getting through this. I encourage you to go to slow down, Charles. I encourage you to go over to the developer portal at developer.servicenow.com to get yourself a free personal developer instance and free learning plans to be a better ServiceNow developer, create better solutions on the platform, and go from there. It's a wonderful place. Oh, scripting APIs and meetups, and therefore you would see the meetups like this. There are several this week. They go on and on and on. I'm going to try and be at a couple of them in October, so not necessarily locally. Unfortunately, I found out that the next Phoenix meetup is while I'm out of town, so bummer, won't be at that one. I look forward to that. That'll be the first one I've missed since they started this. Oh, has it only been a year and a half? Wow, we've packed so much information into these meetups. It's crazy. So it feels like there's been a lot more. Meetups over there. Events, you can find out more events at the URL at the bottom of the screen. You can join me on LinkedIn where I publish a lot of these events, these news stories, that sort of thing. Find them over there. Events.html from our main ServiceNow.com site. We do have a webinar coming up, as I mentioned before, Integration Hub, creating your own custom spokes so that others can use those in Flow Designer and then do those integrations without any scripting, enable those no-coders to be able to build powerful applications and powerful workflows into their system, because you can build custom spokes and build an integration this way, as opposed to orchestration. And the only people that are going to be building workflows are the admins or the really uber types, whereas Flow Designer, you can allow no coders to do this as well. Drag and drop, data pill picker, all that stuff that we've seen before with Flow Designer. Maybe we'll get into that on one of these real quick. I don't think, I may build one out today. I don't know. I have to think about that. I honestly don't know where my thought process is going to go on this, but I would like to show that. We do have the Customer Success Center. If you want to continue your journey with ServiceNow, whether you're new or experienced, I encourage you to take a look at this, best practices and customer guidelines. A lot of great stuff over at the Success Center. If you haven't looked at that in a while, take a look again. And any code that I write today, any code that I write will be published to this link on GitHub so that you can go and download it and try it and tweak it yourself. Okay, that being said, can we see the event/notification name of the email log list view? Is it possible? Please let me know. I am going to take a look at this, and I've got an instance here. Are you talking about the mailbox? So if I look at the system mailbox and I go to, let's say, the outbox, there's nothing in there today. Let's take off the today filter, see if it sent anything. I believe I'm just going to personalize the list. The notification, I thought it was in there, unless it's dot walked from another field. I thought you could see the event in here. Originating event is here. Let me take a look at my developer instance. That might be, oops, not that one, dev 20. Take a look at this real quick. Bring up my instance. It looks like it is in a related list. So if I go to my outbox and take a look at this, not a related list, an embedded list, which is, this is a one-to-many relationship. You could have multiple, I don't know why it's a one-to-many relationship. There's got to be an architectural reason why it's like that. But because this is a separate record, this is off of the, sys event table. And there could be multiple records in here. That's why it's an embedded list. It could either be presented as an embedded list or related list, but it's still a one-to-many relationship. Again, I don't know why this isn't a reference. If it was a reference field, fine. Yeah, then you could put it on the list. But because it's this way, it's like saying, hey, show me a group, and on that same list, show me all the users. You're not going to do it because they're two different tables. The only way you'll be able to do this is a business rule, such that when this record is created, You also say, well, if there's one and only one, then I'll make a reference field to the same thing. Now you're getting into some customization. I don't want to go there. The real question is, what's the value of having that event there? Is it worth doing that development? Is it Is it worth creating a field and a business rule to maintain that field? And then what do you do in the situation that I can't even imagine yet, but I'm sure it's there? What do you do in the situation where there's 2 or 3 or 4 of these? Could you make a list field? You could make a list field and use that same business rule to take the related list records and populate the list field with the comma-separated sys IDs. It's a possibility. Again, is it worth it? I don't know. That's up to you to make that judgment call. Good morning, Akash. Good to see you. Now, I have something I'm working on for real life. Working on this with a coworker of mine. This is an employee recognition application. We are going to customers and say, hey, you've got HR. That's great. HR core, HR case management, whatever it is, there are different HR modules. I'm not an HR expert. I don't know this. But what we want to do is try and extend that capability and say, you know what, there's going to be things that you want to do that aren't provided out of the box. This is a chance to write a custom application. And I am writing an HR-related custom application. Many of you have probably heard that I wrote a loaner request application. It's available on Share. There's a page for it on the community. I even recently updated the video after about 6 years, maybe 7, to give it a more modern, streamlined overview of that video. And these, what I'm calling adjacent applications, they're adjacent to the applications we put out. I want to build out one of those for HR. So we're building an employee recognition application. This is a case where I'm going to build and think and talk through this as I go, and hopefully there will be something worthwhile that you get out of this and you can build. Well, testing, I need this thing anyway. Thank you for your response. You're welcome, Snehal. Let's take a look at, so what I've got, let me explain the application real quick. We are just going in and making sort of a Netflix review or an Uber review where you give somebody stars or points or a badge or something like that. Very easy, quick feedback. So if, let's take a look at our badges list. And originally we just had a list of icons and points and a description. It was a very simple standalone table. We were going to associate the badge with their HR profile. So you could say Chuck gets a badge for producing videos, whatever. And I would go, hey, great, I got a badge. Much like the community awards badges for going to knowledge or community leader or MVP or something like that. It's a little badge of honor, okay? Just a piece of feedback. That's sort of what we're aiming for. Now we're trying to do as much as possible without any script. This is a no-code scenario. Some of you may have watched my series called Tech Shorts, where I built out that safety app in a series of 30, 31. Actually, I think I have one more video to do. Now that I think about it, there's probably 2 or 3 more to do, so Tech Shorts may live on. But we realized that we still needed a request input mechanism for absent badges that weren't available yet. If I said that Carolyn was really good at parallel parking, I'm making this up as I go, and I need a badge for parallel parking, well, I need to get some sort of input mechanism to say, hey, we don't have a badge for parallel parking. I would like to create one. That gets into a request process. And I said, why don't we merge the two together? Otherwise, you're going to have a request for a badge for parallel parking and later need to present that badge in another table. And there's really no way to copy data from one table to the other without scripting. I said, put them together in a task table. Now you've got your intake mechanism and you can present just the completed, approved, accepted badges for picking. So what it would look like is something like this, where I create, says, who do you want to recognize? And I say, I want to recognize Able Tutor, and I want to pick a badge, and we have no badges right now. Now, what I noticed yesterday while we were building this out is if you click New, and it says, great, give me a title of a badge, Parallel parking. Actually, let's pick another one because I think Sush, my coworker, already put that one in. Let's say artistic ability. Okay, you're going to earn the artistic ability badge. The process starts out with a default state of requested state value of 1. Now, the problem is I have a reference qualifier on this field that says I only want to show you ones that are in a state of closed complete. So there's a reference qualifier. There are actually tasks. When I showed you that initial table, it said task 001 or whatever it was, and it had that one task. That was Sush's task request to get a parallel parking badge. And he did that through this way. It says, can draw stick figures. All right. So if I put that in, it says, all right, Carolyn's going to earn this badge. But this badge doesn't even exist yet. It's just a request. So what I need to do is actually remove, let's go to the magnifying glass, remove this new field, which should be under configure list control. And I don't know if this is just going to be for the reference field or if it's going to be for the entire list. Let's omit the new button, submit that. Invalid table on list control, badge is in application, employee recognition, but the current is employee feedback. Oh, silly me. I've got the wrong app. We were working on an app before. So let's go to this, list control. That was just me being in the wrong scope. It's kind of like being in the wrong update set. List control, and first let's omit the new button. Turn that off. Now, if I go to the magnifying glass, I should not see a new. And what I'd really like is an annotation on here that says, if you don't see the badge you're looking for, go over and click on a module over here that I haven't built yet. But first, let's put in the annotation. I'll do this with form layout. I could do it either with form layout or form designer. Text short should live forever. Carolyn would never win the parallel parking or the artistic ability. That's why I like making up these silly scenarios. That's the hardest part about being a developer, isn't it? Making up demo data. Now, I should have annotation. Let's put the annotation at the top. And if I put it here, what I want is really a begin split. You have to imagine your layout with this old format. It gets kind of crazy. And let's put an end split at the end. And my annotation will be full screen width, whereas these two fields will be half screen width. Okay, so let's put in here, please suggest the badge you would like to award to here. Pick a person to recognize and an achievement for which they deserve. And because I can put HTML in here, here's the cool part. I can put in a BR tag and maybe another BR tag and then say in bold, if you do not see the badge you want, use the employee recognition new badge request option to the left. I don't know if all that's going to look good in bold, but it's worth a try. So you can put HTML in your badges. Annotations have been turned off. Well, if I want to see this, I better turn them back on. Okay, let's turn that back on, and I get 2 lines. I got my BR tags in there, and I've got a nice little helpful, friendly annotation. So that's nice. Still haven't written any script. And I like this better than the full width layout because the full width, the magnifying glass is way over there. Okay, so if I click the magnifying glass, I get nothing. And now I need to go and make a badge request for them. And the badge request is going to be quite simple. Even though this table is extended from task. What we did, took the new button off of here too, which is fine. That's fine. Doesn't matter to me because I'm not going to be requesting any new ones as a fulfiller. Now the idea was the badge request may have to go to different departments. So we created, the default view is very simple. What do you want to call this and what do you want to do for a description? Let me first create that module. I'm going to go to Studio because I haven't done that yet. Employee recognition, not employee feedback. That was a diversion down a different branch of the family tree. And I want to go to navigation, modules, and currently I just have the 2 for the table. So let's go to module. You can type in a filter. I don't know if you saw that. If you go to create application, I could search through here for, say, server, script include, or I could just type script include, and it will find that, and then double click this. There is a create button down here. Some people go click and then click create. Don't need to do that. If you just double click on that middle column, you can avoid the create button. Make that a little bigger for you again. So the title of my module, what did I call that in the annotation? New badge request. That's going to go under the employee recognition application menu. We'll make that 100. The link type will be new record. Easy enough. Table is going to be badges. In my recognition badge. And I don't think I need any filter because it's a new record. There's no arguments, there's no filter. I'm surprised those are actually turned on. Visibility, I don't want to restrict it to any roles. So let's create that module. Ding. Let's see what order it put those in. Employee recognition. I didn't refresh the screen. I'll try that again. Employee recognition, new badge request. So if it's 100, why is it at the bottom? Anyone? Anyone? So, Steve, good to see you. Top of the morning to you as well. The reason it's at the bottom is because these two don't have an order, and it will sort them alphabetically. So no order comes first alphabetically, then the ones with orders. So if I want to fix those, I'll go to the application menu, and down below I see my list of modules in there. And just like I said, no order, so they'll sort alphabetically. Let's put badge associations is really my reward system, and ideally what we're going to do is make a report of who's got the most points out of all these badges, etc., etc. So let's make this 200 just for fun, and then this one 300, and we should see them sort on demand, and there we go. I haven't done anything with security or anything yet. That is, we're partway there. Now if I do a new badge request, it brings up the form. I don't, okay. Also notice that this is repurposed from short description. So if I right click on that, and it says show short description. This is the task.short description field. We gave it a new label for this table. Be careful when you relabel things, especially in a scoped app, that you don't modify the label for task.short description. This is actually a label. If I say configure label, this is a copy for this table. Specifically for the badge table, it's titled that. Now, if I look at the dictionary entry, let's go back here, right click, configure dictionary. I'll look at the dictionary entry for that. It says a couple of attributes in here. I look at the related list, and I've got edge encryption enabled, text search weight, knowledge search. Knowledge search is true. That's why that little decoration shows up at the end. I don't need a knowledge search for a badge. That doesn't make sense. So what I thought we did yesterday, and I'm going to check this, is go in here to dictionary override. This says when you're on this table, these attributes apply. And I've got override attributes, but it doesn't do anything. Let's put in no truncate equals true, just so it has something. Maybe we actually need to override that knowledge search false, but I don't remember what the knowledge search attribute is. I'll update that. Maybe because it's true, once it's set true, I don't know this for a fact, but we're going to test it out. We tried it with blank, saying, hey, you don't have any attributes. Well, apparently it still does, because the badge record still has the light bulb on it. Oh, that's a suggestion. So who knows how suggestions come up? Because if I look at suggestion, where is it searching? It's searching suggestions. All right. So apparently putting an attribute in there got rid of the knowledge search. But let's go to show. And edge encryption true. No truncate equals true. Edge encryption is true. Edge encryption is always going to be on by default. Don't get afraid over that. It just says this field is capable of being encrypted. How do we... You know, I haven't looked for that suggestion in so long I forgot what that was. So let's turn to the document and go to suggestion. If it's not an attribute, where does that come from? Suggestion, index suggestion for slow queries, updates. That's short description suggestion. Is it a reference declaration? I'll bet it is. I'll bet it is. Let me look. I'll bet that is a... No, it's not a reference field. It can't be a reference decoration. What am I saying? Configure keywords for index, knowledge management, example, restricted field, knowledge management. Where are those suggestions configured? Suggestions. Index suggestions to review progress done. That doesn't look like what I'm looking for, but let's take a look. No, no, no. That's under diagnostics anyway. Where do those suggest? Let's take a look at the table. Maybe we can reverse engineer this. This is the learning process, people. This is where it comes from. Let me look at my badge records. And I have this icon. I want to get rid of that. It doesn't apply here. If I can't get rid of it, I'll just create another field instead of using short description. Although I would like to use short description. It means I don't have to re-engineer a lot of work. Okay, so let's configure the dictionary and see if there's anything in there. Go to the advanced view. Maybe. Am I in the correct scope? Yes, I am. Short description is, short description belongs to task. Task is part of global. That's why all these fields are grayed out. I don't want to accidentally modify this. This is one of the things that safeguards you in a scoped application against doing something catastrophic. I have been on an example years before scoped applications came out. I was working with a colleague and they went and changed this label on task.short description. They thought they were modifying, I think it was problem, and suddenly everybody else's labels were changed. And they said, I didn't do that. And I was on the change management team and said, why did the change management short description just change? It's because somebody else modified this. Had we been using scoped derivatives of those, it would have worked much better. So we have no truncate is true, knowledge search true, TS weight 10. Those attributes align with the attributes we saw before. Dependent field, calculated value, default value. There isn't a checkbox or something that I'm missing. No. Alter the behavior of a field functionality depends on the field. More info. Yeah. That just tells you about this. So choices, attributes, labels, dictionary overrides. I'm still not seeing where that comes from. So let's go back and try attempt number 2. Where does it pull the suggestions from? This comes from the table. Pick underscore, just pick? No. Yes? The URL says sysparm name, SMP, recognition, pick underscore list.do. Let's find out what that means. Pick dot list. No records to display. It is a table. It's kind of rendered funny. I used to know that. This is what's driving me nuts, is I used to know this. I was going through reference qualifier, found group filter used for assignment group. I didn't find the JS mention method script include. Where can I see that? For get group filter, I don't know offhand. I'd have to dig in to think of that. Look in business rules. It might be a global business rule because it's not instantiated. Just the fact that it's calling it directly. If it's not a script include, it's going to be a global business rule. So look through global business rules for that. All right, getting back to suggestions. Short description. How do we get rid of that? If I can't find it in the next few minutes, I'm going to just create a new field because I don't like it. Client scripts installed. Could it be a client script? Could be. Could be. Let's take a look. Let's go back to my badges table. And we can do a configure all. I don't use this too often, but configure all brings up a list of all the business rules, client scripts, etc. that apply to this table and any parent tables, which includes tasks. So modify comments label. Modify comments label. That's not our comments. Hide related lists. Simultaneous update alert. Modify comments label is going to apply to what? Does it have a field? It's an onload. And it sets customer visible after that. I don't know why this has to be a client script. Why don't we just modify the label of comments to be... Okay. Well, anyway. Oh, if it doesn't have... I see. It's only modifying it if it's ITIL capable. More exploring, more discovering. Dictionary entries, dictionary overrides. We can see there's our one dictionary override for this table. Notifications, no. UI actions, ACLs, UI policies, maybe? Make assignment group mandatory, no. Access controls, no. That's that one. Data policies, no. Funny how this thing just wants to redraw itself, depending on what I pick on. Styles, no. What is putting that icon at the end of short description? I'm on a mission to figure this out. My recommendation, Akash, is don't write global business rules. Okay, that's a best practice. Stick with script includes. If you need a global function like that, use it as a script include. Don't do global business rule because global business rules are loaded on every page load. Every page load. Okay, that becomes inefficient. Here's a bunch of code that you probably won't need because it's only used on this one field, on this one form, in this one view, under this one condition. Okay, bad idea to have that load all the time. A script include is only loaded on demand when you need it. So stick with stick with script includes. You can write a function. You don't have to write something where you do the new. Watch Tech Now episode 6. Go to bit.ly/ServiceNow-TechNow, find episode 6 and watch it. We cover script includes very much in there. Okay, you cannot write a global business rule from a scoped app anyway. So don't get in that habit. Don't do it. If you've done it, you can convert those to script includes and avoid that. If you do get an audit from ServiceNow for best practices, global business rules will come up as a fault that you'll need to remediate. All right. That was a nice side topic. Still haven't figured out how to do this, so I am going to save that for later. My thought at this point is let's not waste any more time on trying to get rid of that stupid little icon. I'll either create a new field later or we will find out how to do that. So the process is like this. Somebody has created this for artistic ability, but I need a different view. So I have a fulfiller view that shows more details about this. That is a horrific fulfiller view. Let's go to configure form design and fix it. That is nothing like what I would like to see for a task. Now, my view is selectable up here. I've got my default view and a fulfiller view, or I could create a new one. I am going to create a new 2-column layout section. And you know what? Let's just move this to 2-column first, because some of these are going to be 1-column big fields like description, like title. Put those down there. That's actually short description, description. We will want assignment group above assigned to, since they're dependent. We'll put state over there. Open by as a reference field, put that there. Icon field, that side, and points up here. Now, I put icon on the bottom for a reason. So it looks like a nice layout. When you attach an icon, I don't know what I'm going to attach. This is just good form layout design. Reload the form, and there you have it. If I put icon in the middle and then suddenly attach an icon, again, I have no idea what I'm going to attach. Is there something on my desktop that I can pick? Not really. Here's a screenshot. Let's see what that's all about. I could probably pick one. Hey, look, it's me. See how it expands that area? That would not work if it were in the middle of something. Suddenly points would be down here, and I think it would look kind of funny. So this is our process flow. We've got requested, we've got work in progress, and we've got closed. We could also cancel this. And I didn't put the active field on there, but we did stick with as many of the default task choices and values, particularly 3 and 4, which will set active to false by default when this thing is done. So if I say I want to assign this to, I don't know, the HR admin group, and I don't even know who's in that group because it doesn't show up, because here's another pet peeve of mine that I hope we get fixed soon. Let me save that record. Assign to, again, belongs to task. Task is the overall owner of assign to. And by default, task.assign to has a reference qualifier that says, hey, I'm only going to show you people from the sysuser table that have a role of ITIL. PU, that doesn't do me any good. This is not an ITIL related process. So here is where I would need to create another dictionary override. Let's go do that real quickly. And in my case, I really don't care who I'm going to put in here. Let's just pick one. I just want to remove that reference qualifier, so I override the reference qualifier with maybe just something as simple as active equals true. Save that so that I don't get obsolete people in here. Go back to my badges, bring up my artistic ability. I'll fix that list layout in a second. Now when I click, I still have no records to display. Where is it pulling this from? Sysuser list. I want to pull that query out and see what it says. Paste that in here. Does it have my filter on there? Sysparm additional qualifier equals nothing. I am not seeing that. Sysparm reference is sysuser. Sysparm view is sysref list. Yeah. Assign to. Show assign to. Reference qualifier active equals true from sysuser. Well, let's start even simpler. Configure dictionary. Do I not have any? I'm a user in the sysuser table. How did that get missed? Go to my dictionary override. Let's override that, take that out, update that, go back to the badge table. Edit dictionary in the choices field, select suggestion. Really? All right. In the title, configured, what was it? Configure dictionary in the choice field, select suggestion. Why? That's not a choice field. Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, can I override that in a dictionary override? What was it called? It's not something you can override. Well, that blows, doesn't it? In the dictionary, right there, it says choice. Displays a list of suggested values in a choice list. In the advanced view, is this actually, it's a string field. In the advanced views, you can select the choice table and choice field to take choices from. Look at that. How many times have I not seen that? Suggestion, there's no choice table, so it must be pulling it from some default. But I can't override it. Boo! Choice list specification. I want an override. Otherwise I have to make a new field. Anybody seeing it here? I've been known to miss things. Override reference qualifier. No. Override dependent. No, it's not a dependent. Override attributes, override default value, override calculation, mandatory, read-only, display value. Oh, close. Close, but not quite. Okay. We'll deal with that later. Where was I now again? Oh, I was on my reference qualifier. Did I fix that? You know what? I'll bet there's just no people in the HR admin group. I'll bet if I go to the HR admin group, there's no group members, which is why it's not showing us anybody. So let's put some people in there. You and you and you. Okay. That helps. Always check your data. It might not be the data. It might not be the code. It might be the data. And if I pick this, there they are. 1, 2, 3. Callie is now in HR. And at this point, I would, of course, say work in progress. At some point, I can say close complete. Now, the badge isn't what we're interested in right now. What we're interested in, the badge is ultimately going to come out on a service portal. We're going to create a beautiful mobile experience with this. That's not part of my no-code design. My no-code design is going to be employee recognition. There's my new badge request. I want my favorites. I want to be able to say, let's create a new badge association for, I don't know, pick somebody. Alyssa gets artistic ability. Now my reference list, my reference qualifier is working here. I do need to modify that a bit. Configure list layout for badges, because it inherited the default list layout, which I really don't need. Create a new view in employee recognition. Sysref list. And all I really need is the title. I could use description, I suppose. I don't know why that looks so squished. Description. And if I did my job right, this should come up with the magnifying glass view of just those two fields. Yay! I get the reference qualifier on this field. Let's save that. And suddenly Alyssa has the artistic ability badge. Congratulations. And I could create more, because I now have a badge association of Alyssa. Again, terrible list layout. Let's fix that. Takes all of 10 seconds. I don't need an active. I have the badge, and I have the recognition. Let's get the person first. People are important. Done, done. So there we go. Effectively, this is a many-to-many table because I got a many different people with many different badges, but I didn't create a many-to-many table for one reason. When I go to create a many-to-many table, in fact, watch this. If I go into Studio and I say make a many-to-many definition from our badge table, wait for it, badge table in recognition badge to HR profile, which is where I want to stick these things, and I say, let's create that many-to-many definition. It comes back and it barks. It says, hey, you don't have cross-scope access to read from the HR profile table, which I'm going to contest is a bug, because if I look at the HR profile table and I go to configure table, it says, actually, no, this isn't a bug. I apologize. Under application access for this table, I have, hey, look, I can read. That's all I want to do is read from this table. I'm making pointers to this. Now, maybe it's trying to update something else on here. But notice that this also says caller restriction. Whereas if I look at the table in, say, my badge table from my application, the application access is none. So it's caller restriction or caller tracking. HR, because it's the HR application, has tougher access on it. Application to application access. This is not anything to do with ACLs right now. ACLs are application to user. This application access is how do you want other applications to access your data? So you get caller restriction in here sets, I am going to really restrict this down to what you need. And even though this says read, create, and update are on, I can't do that because it's set to caller restriction. So where is that? That is under the human resources application. So under system applications, I have the HR application. Again, it's read only because I'm still in the employee recognition app. But under here, there is a related list of restricted caller access privileges. I would have to grant read access from one table to the other to make that many-to-many work. That means I would have to put, now I can't do that right now because this is part of the HR application. And that's good because I don't want to distribute an application, say via the store or via share, that you install that suddenly has read access to your HR tables that shouldn't. It has to be very explicit that if you install this application, you need to grant this access to make this application work. It would be very subversive, very security of risk to just install an application and start reading HR records. Think about that. That's not a good thing. So, Lalit, good morning to you. And for that reason, I didn't use a many-to-many table. That's the long story of the short version. We tried that yesterday. We got this error message. It says, you're not allowed to read from this table, but yet somehow, don't ask me how, I don't know, maybe this is an actual bug that nobody's found yet. When I went to the badge association table and I said, I want to reward, okay, this is reading, this is reading from the HR profile table. Shh. I don't know how, because there isn't. Let's see if we can go back to that record. Store application. There isn't a record in there for my application. Read, because we just created that table yesterday. There's no way. Let's find out. And if it is, how did it get in there? Okay, source, widget, script include. Okay, read. How many of these do we have? 343. I'm not going to go through them list by list. Let's see if we can find, would it be table? Or let's just say source scope. Ooh, UI action, create many-to-many. It's requested. Okay, so it has been requested that this works. Now, all somebody would need to do is go into one of these, somebody with HR admin access. No, HR admin, the application admin, go in here and change the status to granted, I think is what the option is. And then I would be able to create this many-to-many table. I'm not going to do that right now. We got what we need. We're trying to do a no-code experiment to just build this demo out real quickly in front of a customer and say, this is a case of an application that you could build. I am just trying to find what that story is. Okay, so I'm on my fulfiller view. I don't know why. If I go to badge associations, badges, up here it says fulfiller view, still in fulfiller view. I really don't need a priority. Let's fix this list layout while we're at it. Happen to be here, do something trivial. Right click on a column, configure list layout. I don't use the number, I don't use the priority, don't use task type. What I do use is, let's put the icon on there. That'll be nice and big and visual. State assigned to, we could probably throw assignment group on there just for fun. Really not a terrifically complex process. Assignment group, oh, open by would be nice. Let's put that on there. That's automatically populated. And that ought to be a good list layout. Sure. Let me see what the icon is. Points. We forgot points. Okay, so each badge has this concept of points. And I did put it on here, right? Yeah, points. So let's say this is worth 10 points. Now we will create more badges. Let's take our parallel parking, assign that to the same HR admin. Callie can do this. This one's worth 20. I have no idea what the icons are. We'll make that closed complete and done. So if I assign a badge, a badge association, Alyssa now has this. And I could, here's something fun to do. Let's dot walk to the points and do configure list layout. And we can go to pick a badge, use this icon to dot walk into that field, and I can get the points. Why do I want pick a badge dot points on the list? Every time I say pick a badge, it sounds like Build-A-Bear. Because then I can go to this column and say configure list calculations and put in a total value. Now I've got a total underneath the, I should have had a total. Did I not pick that? What did I do? Configure list control. Having some issues with the larger font. Not list control. Habit. I do list control 99% of the time. Configure list calculations. Total value. Okay. Is it just a font thing? Nope. Okay, maybe it just needs more records. Let's go create more badge associations. We will give Carla Humble the Artistic Ability badge. Where's my total? I'm disappointed. Was it something else? List calculations. Min, max, average. Huh. It's an integer field. It should total. Unless we made some dumb, stupid mistake and made it a... Whoa. I hate it when reference fields are in the first column. It's so confusing. Actually, reference field in the first column, reference field in the second column, and it's not until here that you actually get a string or an integer field that you can click on to bring you into the record. When that happens, I like to fix it this way. Okay. Go to Configure, List Layout, and put the created field first. That's often handy information. Now, when I click that, I go into the record. That's another best practice. Try to avoid putting reference fields in the first column, because human beings, being habit-driven like I am, will click the same thing over and over, and you click the first column and you're taken to a sysuser record instead of the badge association record. Okay, that doesn't work. That's not my points table. I want the badges points. This is show points and integer field. Why am I not getting a sum on that? I'll figure it out later. Okay, then we have a report. Oh, we need more badges. We need more badge associations because these two people both have 10 points. If I then give Carla the other badge, which is worth more points, parallel parking, because parallel parking should be worth more points, I still have no total. I'll figure that out. My report will say, in fact, let's go through Studio for this one. Reporting, reports, user points. I have a simple report. Might not show very well with the font size I've got. Let's find out. Even though it's 2-to-1 on the points, I'm going to reduce that down just so we can see that a little bit better. And maybe I can make that small. Just my configurator? No, that's my style, chart color, custom chart size. Let's make this small. Run. There we are. So we can see Carla is clearly in the lead. Not only does she has 30 points just from 2 badges. So quick, easy report. I just said, call it user points. It's a table. I want my badge association table, which is badge to user. The type is a simple bar type. I'm going to group by person. This is my user field. who to recognize. I'm not going to stack it. If I wanted, I could stack by badge and run that, and I can see, ooh, but if you've got 15 badges, you're going to have 15 different colors in one column. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So let's not stack it. And the aggregation is going to be a sum of points. And again, I dot walked by going to pick a badge points. Very easy to do. I want to sum up those points. I can easily throw this on a dashboard, put it on a home page, that kind of thing. I will save that because I think I made a change to that. And I've got an easy report of who my leaders are. Also, notice that I said 10 groups, and by default, show other is turned on, which means you'd have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11 would be other, or maybe 10 would be other. Well, if the maximum points right now is 30, but you sum up everybody else in the points chart and it comes out to 510, it's going to go, little, big. Not a very helpful graph. It's like, oh, other is winning. No, other is not winning. Other is just an aggregate of everybody who's not winning. So that's where this unchecking other, turning off the default setting comes in handy. So I didn't do anything, so let's save it anyway. Change that. My many to many didn't want to work. So I am, the only disadvantage, as I mentioned last week when I did many to many tables, is I don't have an edit button. Well, it's not like I'm going to be using a related list to do these associations. So that's fine. The other thing I can do while I'm here, very quick and easy, is take my sysuser table, and because I have a simple reference field, down here I could add a related list of badges. Oh, it's not on the user table, it's on HR profile. But let's go the other way then. Let's take the badge and find out who has earned that badge. Configure related lists. And down here, I'm going to have, where was it? Badge association, pick a badge. Save that. This is just a task table, so you get all those other ones. Now I can clearly see that Alyssa and Carla have earned this badge, and I can do any quick calculations off of that. This one, let's put a calculation on here. Configure list calculation. Total value is turned on. Again, I don't see the list calculation. That's bizarre. Should be there. There should be like a total down here that says 20, just like on the other one. The reason I put it on this table, or tried to put it on this table, it'll probably show up at some point. I wonder. Let's do a good old cache.do. Purge the cache. See what happens. There we are. Go back to badge associations. And it's got to rebuild the list. It's got to rebuild a whole bunch of other stuff. But it didn't help. The reason I did that is so you could say, filter out, group by, that sort of thing. And it will give you that information. So if I say, group by, who do you want to organize? It would then give me a total for each of those. But it doesn't, so I'm bummed. All right, that takes me to the top of the hour. Built a lot of stuff. Thank you very much. Still have some mysteries about where that question mark icon comes from and how can we I mean, we know where it comes from, but how can we override it? Don't quite know. Didn't get a whole lot done in the community, but I hope you found some of this helpful. If you found it helpful, don't forget, check that like checkbox so that others know that there's information in here. We went all over the place with list controls and list lookups and reports. It was kind of crazy. So thank you everybody for joining. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing you here again tomorrow. Until then, take care and bye.